Joining me now is Ryan Buchanan. He's a state representative in New Hampshire. Representative Buchanan, welcome to the Young Turks.
Hey, Cenk, how you doing?
I'm good. So I wanted to talk to you for a number of reasons. First of all, to encourage people to run. So what were you before you were a state rep?
Before a state rep, I was actually a salesperson. I worked at Bob's Discount Furniture, and I was going to school full time for my degree in accounting from UNH Manchester. And I had just started at an accounting firm, but I really wanted to run to get more education funding for my kids. Both my kids have autism, and I wanted to kind of get more funding to them. So I felt that since no one else was stepping up to do it, that I should do it.
What was the name of the used furniture store?
So it was Bob's Discount Furniture. They sell new furniture. They were New England based, but they're kind of spreading throughout the United States right now.
Oh, okay, I got you. Sorry, discount furniture, because used furniture probably makes less sense. Okay. Anyway, so you're working there. You're working on your degree. You got 2 kids, and you're but why decide to run for office?
Well, like I said, my boys have autism. Darian, who's 10 years old, has very mild autism. My youngest son, Brian, has moderate autism. And our current governor, Governor Sununu, just really cut into the education funding, gave a huge tax cut to Amazon, Apple, and Walmart, all with hopes of, the same line that you always hear from Republicans. It's going to build jobs. It's going to boost the economy. And of course, that's not what happened. And instead, what we saw was schools now being underfunded. We actually had an elementary school in Berlin that closed. So now those kids are going to the middle schools and high schools to get their education. And it was just one of these things that I saw this terrible pattern. And I was like, I need to get involved. I need to do something about it.
But Ryan, you don't have a lot of money. You're not a connected guy, et cetera. So my guess is that most people would have told you, what are you doing? You can't win. But yet here you are, Representative Buchanan. So what happened?
So it was a really interesting situation. So I called up the person who was running, who was holding the seat. And originally I wanted to run for city council. She had both city council and state representative seat for our ward. And I talked to her and I said, hey, I would really like to run for your city council seat. She said, well, I kind of like that, but I'm looking to get out of the state representative's position, which is ultimately where I wanted to go. I wanted to start city council and move to state rep. And I said, sure, I'd be interested in that. And we talked for a while, and she said she would step down, let me run for her seat without her running against me. And I didn't have a primary challenger, so that helped out. And I'm in a really blue area, and the Republicans kind of gave up on it a long time ago. So there was no serious challenge from the Republicans either.
No, I love it. You see, but guys, that's why, just try it. You never know, right? So normally the representatives hand off their seat to establishment guys, but Ryan is nowhere near establishment, right? So, but what he had was gumption. And he's like, why don't I call her and tell her I want her seat? And then she's like, okay. It's a great story. Only in America, baby. Only in America. Okay.
Definitely.
So I love that story. But Ryan, the other thing that I like about you is how much you care about money getting money out of politics. So talk to me about that. What have you done in New Hampshire to further that movement?
So I participate and work with Wolfpack. We are making huge strides here. The Republicans and Democrats have agreed to hear the bill in the Senate. New Hampshire is unique in the fact that any resolution that goes to the Senate has to have 2/3 vote to be heard before it could go to a committee. And it's only for resolutions. Other bills don't have that requirement. The Republicans and Democrats have both agreed. So we should be getting a bill hearing this coming up year.
So look, man, we got to check back in with you and see how it's going, because New Hampshire is the state that has most bedeviled Wolfpack, most promising and most troubling at the same time, because we won in of course I originally founded Wolfpack, that's why I say we in this context, but one in this one state house and then the other and then flipped, right? But never in the same year. It's got to be in the same year. That was the original time that we ran our first campaign. I say we again back then. I'm more involved in Wolfpack and against Valancourt, and there was a great legendary moment where the head of Wolfpack, current head of it, Mike Mineta, is canvassing against him. He runs into Valancourt at Burger King in the middle of the night. And Valancourt asks him, "Are you one of the people that came for me?" And the answer is yes, we were. He lost that seat in a shocker. So I give you all that as context for, what do you think now? You're now a state representative. So Representative Buchanan, what do you think our chances of winning are this year?
That's a good question. I think in the Senate we have a pretty good chance. I'm a little concerned in the House. There is a huge anti-Fifth Amendment, Fifth Article 5 movement to prevent new amendments to happen through the Article 5 clause. Anytime a bill comes to our committees, and I sit on the State and Federal Relations Committee, so I see most of these bills. Anytime they come through, there's always wave after wave of email talking about the fear mongering, these truly just kind of made up concerns to scare people into not voting for it.
And can you tell where that's coming from, Ryan?
I mean, it's a bunch of different groups, and I can't remember all the names right now off the top of my head. I know that a couple of them will actually send people from Washington, D.C. to come and testify at the committee and tell the committee members why we shouldn't vote for this. And for some of my colleagues, it's kind of sunk in and they kind of got scared. But every day I sit with them, I work with them on this, and I try to reassure them that this is not as scary as it seems. It is a very legitimate way of getting amendments passed, and we've had amendments get passed because of this type of movement, and we could do it again. And this is just as good of a reason as any to give this amendment passed.
See, I love this story because now Ryan's inside the building. The calls from coming inside the House, okay? And so it's a different ballgame when you're a state legislator and you talk to your colleagues and you explain to them, hey, guys, here are the actual facts, et cetera. So it's a great, great story. I know you want to talk about other races in New Hampshire as well. First, a transition question. Why have we decided to go down to Miami for the white party while we're talking?
I'm sorry, say again?
I'm just kidding around. The whole background's white, so I thought you were at the white party.
Oh. No, so
I think P. Diddy has the white party, right?
I have this terrible 1960s paneling in my room, and I did not want to show that off to the world, so I got a bed sheet up to kind of.
Oh God, who doesn't love Ryan Buchanan? Okay. All right, so you got the Sununu's, you can't get rid of him in New Hampshire, for Christ's sake. So you got an election coming up. Who's the progressive Democrat that people should back, and do they have a good chance of beating Sununu?
Yeah, so right now we have a wonderful progressive running for the governor's chair, and that's Andrew Volinsky. He's an executive council member. He's actually my executive council member, and he's a wonderful guy. He took the state of New Hampshire to the New Hampshire Supreme Court and won, saying that they were not funding our schools properly. So, this is a guy who knows how to fight, and this is a guy who's not afraid to fight. And the thing I love about him is that he's got his line in the sand. He says, this is where I'm not going to cross. You are not going to defund education anymore. And I love that. Also talking with him, he's not taking corporate money. He's, backs the $15 minimum wage. He loves the Medicare for all. He was actually one of Bernie Sanders' lawyers in 2016 that got Bernie Sanders on the Democratic primary ballot in New Hampshire. So this guy's a wonderful progressive. I love him to death. Like I said, he's my executive council member. I couldn't be prouder of him to be my executive council member, and I really want to get him to the governor's chair.
All right. So yeah, it sounds like we should get him on the show. And then how about Democratic Party overall? No matter who wins the primary, what's the chances of unseating Sununu now?
That's a good question. So what we saw last time in 2018 is we ran an establishment Democrat candidate, and she was wiped off the ballot. She lost in a blue wave. We completely took back all federal delegation. Chris Pappas won the seat, which was up for grabs since our last Congresswoman stepped down. and we were able to uphold our other seat too with Congresswoman Custard, and we took back the House, the Senate, and the Executive Council at the state level, but we couldn't get the governor's chair. And I truly believe it's because New Hampshire is more progressive than what the Democratic Party gives it credit for. So I would really love to see a progressive take a swing at him. And I think that when it comes to it, Chris Sununu's charm and, plastic smile is not going to stand up to a strong progressive fighter.
Ah, look at that. So Ryan Buchanan, from Bob's Discount Furniture to a strong progressive fighter breaking the furniture inside the State House. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for fighting the good fight and for being an American hero. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show.
No problem. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.